I thought there were going to be 7 of you. I thought that was our agreement. So the first question to ask any of you is the most important question ever that you're going to ask yourselves in life. Not just here, but in life, which is, why am I here? Who has the answer? Okay, Liv, let's hear yours.
Rosh Hashanah.
For Rosh Hashanah. You can come with me. That was awesome. Okay, anybody else? Why are you here? And if the honest answer is because your parents forced you to get up early, right? Let's just put it out there now. Forced you to dress up. By the way, you might be the most handsome, best-dressed boy in the whole room. I just want you to know. So I want shoes just like that, only 2 sizes bigger. And these, you look fantastic. So why else are we here? Yes.
For the high holidays.
For the high holidays. So what makes them high holidays to you? What makes them high instead of just holidays? There are a lot of holidays in the year. Why do you guys think?
We think because it's like the 2 high holidays, because it's Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, so that's why.
Right. So Grant says because it's 2 holidays, not just one. Rosh Hashanah, the New Year, and Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement. Anybody have an idea of what New Year and Atonement have in common? What's different? What's atonement? Anybody have an idea? It's a word we don't tend to use in elementary or middle school, but maybe we should.
Well, it's sort of when you think back about what you've done and what you could do better.
It's exactly that. It's when you think about what you've done, and everybody who is alive is a doer. We're all doing. And then we think about how it affected other people and how it affected ourselves and even how it affected the earth on which we're walking. So we're thinking about our impact. Everybody in a year and every single day has what we'll call a footprint on the earth. We affect it, right? We affect each other. So now I want to ask you guys, I want to spin a tale with you. I want to tell a Rosh Hashanah story, but I don't know what the story is actually until it ends. But let's start with you guys giving me some words or ideas to put in that story. Asher. What was that? I'll call it to me, it'll be easier. Amoeba. Thank you, that's a really good start for me. Anybody else? Yes. Call it out loudly and I'll repeat it. Amoeba and America. I see a theme. Okay, amoeba and America. Yes, Grant?
Shofar.
Shofar. I don't know how an amoeba in America ties in with a shofar, but I have to make it work. And?
Apple steeped in honey?
apple? An amoeba without teeth, tongue, or lips can chew it and bite it and dip it without hands in honey? And this little girl from Puerto Rico, no less, insisted that that's what her family did. So the rabbi said, all of us have to come to your home for Rosh Hashanah to see what an apple looks like when it's dipped in honey, and maybe even to taste it. So imagine that moment. It's Rosh Hashanah Eve, and everybody goes down the road. Imagine seeing how many amoeba are slithering down the road. Remember, traffic signs and cars and amoeba. And the amoeba are going down the road, and they're all showing up to Sally's house on Erev Rosh Hashanah, the evening of this holy day, the new year. And they all come to the door. Now, that's a problem for an amoeba, a door, right? So the rabbi is at the back of the line of amoebae, amoebases. Somebody's going to correct me at some point. Amoebo. We're going to say amoebo for now. And the rabbi is at the back, and he's watching this line of amoeba. They're all kind of slithering and squirming and slithering and squirming and talking, because they're kids. They still are talking the whole way. And they get there, and instead of knocking on the door, because nobody can reach that high, they decide to go under it. So the whole classroom of amoeba go into the room, into the house, going under the door, and nobody even hits their head. Why don't they hit their head? They don't have one. It's the greatest way to avoid head injury. Don't have a head. Be an amoeba. So the amoeba, all of them come around what looks like an amoeba table. It's actually a piece of carpeting, just higher than the other carpeting. And they gather around that little piece of carpeting, and there, above the carpet, they look up without eyes. They don't actually have eyes, but they look up, and they see and they hear without ears. They hear and they see a swarming sound, a sound from just above them. It's the largest thing they've ever seen other than people and chihuahuas. It's bees. It's a swarm of bees on top of the house, inside and down, dripping from the center beam on top of that house is dripping this golden nectar, and it's dripping down to that little piece of carpet. And on that carpet is this little beautiful puddle of golden nectar that somebody, Sally, says, that, my friends, is honey. But they say, where will we get an apple from? And the rabbi at the back, because they all look without eyes, they all look back to the rabbi, and without a tongue and teeth or lips, he says, how could I tell you? But somebody knows that around the corner from that house, and he slithers under the door to get there, there's an apple tree. And when the wind blows, as it always does in the autumn at that time of the year, apples fall to the ground. And he thinks, if enough of us can work together, we'll be able to roll and push that apple toward the door. And though we can't get it under, all of us are going to meet in the front with that little piece of carpet that will also slide under the door with honey on top of it, untouched by the bottom of the door. And we're going to roll that apple in the honey. And maybe by jiggling it around, all of us will get a sweet taste in our mouths for Rosh Hashanah of apples dipped in honey. The question is, do you guys believe that they could do it? Who says there's no way they could do it? There's always one critic. Two critics. So why don't you believe that they could pull this off, the great amoeba heist?
Because they have no mouth.
Now, close your eyes for a moment and imagine an amoeba with a mouth. Do you see it? Just try harder. We're going to stay here for a long time. Try harder. You see the amoeba with a mouth? No, you do. I can see right there. You're thinking about an amoeba with mouth and teeth and lips and eyes, and he just bit a piece of apple. So now, do we need to end the story, or is it ended? Pirate. It is, as the amoebae, according to Wikipedia, as the amoebae come around this beautiful apple, they realize that everybody's sliding over it and sliding under it and sliding around it because nobody can quite break it open. And at that point, they hear a sound that's really unfamiliar to amoebae. And it sounds like this: ahoy there, amoebae. Imagine. And this pirate starts walking over. And the pirate looks down and he sees all these amoebae, according to Wikipedia, it's amoebae, on the ground, all trying to open an apple. And what does a pirate have in his hand that amoebae lack? Not a shofar, he has a hook. I can't fit shofar, and it's getting too late. A hook, he has a hook. He has a hook, and what does he do? He goes down and he sees these amoeba in trouble, and he lifts up his hook, and he brings it crashing down on the apple. What happens to the apple? It breaks up into tiny amoeba-sized bites. And every amoeba in that land celebrates Rosh Hashanah, and as they do, they open their non-existent ears, and they hear a strange sound from the distance. And this time it isn't a pirate. They hear a sound that sounds a lot like a pelican in distress. It sounds like this. Now, knowing that there aren't pelicans and knowing that there aren't coyotes, they realize it's the Jewish New Year and somebody's blowing a shofar. Shana Tova to all of you. I just aged 3 weeks and 5 minutes.